So there's talk that Iran is going to bomb California with drones, right? You got the Pacific Ocean, you got the Atlantic Ocean, and they're saying that Iran, which is in the Middle East, so it's on the opposite side of the world, is going to attack California with drones. Now, I have a bunch of problems with this because why California? Out of all the states in the Union, why California? If you look at a map, and actually I've done some research on this, the East Coast is closer to Iran than the West Coast. So if Iran was going to attack the United States, at least the continuous, the mainland, the 48 states, if they're going to attack the 48 states, it makes sense to go after Florida or Maine or New York City. Not all the way to fucking California. You'd have to fly all across the flyover states, right? So you would miss the entire show. And then to send it the opposite way, no, the shortest distance between point A and point B is a straight line. So it would make no sense to go another 1,000 miles to attack some other place. Then I started thinking, well, what about Alaska? Or what about Hawaii? Is it possible that, maybe Hawaii or Alaska, you got the Aleutian Islands. Maybe they're closer. Man, they didn't start barking like this until I started doing this thing, so I'm going to have to just fucking say it quick, man. God damn, man. So, Tehran to Hawaii, they say, is about 13,000 kilometers, about 8,000 miles. Tehran to California, LA, is about 12,000 kilometers, about 7,500 miles. So that means that it's quicker, it's actually easier to bomb California. It's quicker for Iran to go after California than to Hawaii. That's crazy to me because Hawaii is just sitting right out there in the middle of the Pacific. But they're saying that somehow because of the curvature of the earth, that if you were to attack California, you could go up above the thing. And then if you went straight for Hawaii. And then the other thing that I found out was that Alaska would be even, closer. Out of actually the West Coast or the East Coast, Alaska would be the closest. Attu Island is, 5,386 miles away. Anchorage is 5,635 miles away. Adak Island, 5,727 miles away. Whereas New York City is, 6,124 miles away, and LA is 7,572 miles away. Honolulu, 8,058 miles away. So that doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense. It's like, hey, everybody, Florida's about to attack Alaska. Why would Florida attack Alaska when, fucking Georgia and Mississippi and whatever else is down there in that goddamn cesspool? Why would they attack Alaska? Why would Florida attack Alaska if they were pissed off at the neighboring states or whatever? So the shortest distance between, 2 points, point A and point B, is a straight line. Since the shortest distance between point A and point B is a straight line, I don't expect any drone strikes to happen in California. And then they're talking about sleeper cells, right? Oh, no, there's sleeper cells. So what kind of talk is this shit? Is this the Japanese internment camps, right? We're going to round up a bunch of Iranian Americans and put them in concentration camps. Is that the idea? And sleeper cells, the way he talks, Joe Biden was the enemy of the people. So the Democrats are the enemy of the people, right? And so if the Democrats are the enemy of the people, it's just this terminology. It can be used, it's so vague and expansive. And with this fucking guy could just basically be like, hey, anybody, and Thomas Massey is a sleeper cell, anybody that doesn't just suck the polyps out of his fucking asshole, just suck out the goddamn colon cancer out of his asshole. That's how loyal you got to be with this fucking guy, Hey, yo, whoa. So no, I don't expect any, drone strikes in California. If it happens, then egg on my face. But it just seems like somebody was like, oh, maybe there's ships on the coast. Really? Iran was able to get ships out there again. Why wouldn't they take ships to, the Atlantic coast? And then why California? Right? You got California and Oregon over there. And then on the East Coast, you have about a smattering. And then you got the Gulf of Mexico, right? So you got, what, about 20 fucking states right there on the coast. So if it's about a ship, launching missiles, sleeper cells. I don't know any Iranians. See, I did know one Iranian maybe 15 years ago. Lost touch with him. But he was at a university. I don't even really... With the way this shit's going, I don't even really want to mention. It was in Lexington, Kentucky. So, but what does that matter? What does that mean? That means nothing, It's like a drop in the bucket, a sleeper cell. And in fact, he was questioning whether or not Iran should have nuclear weapons. So what am I saying? It's not the Iranian people that's fucking us over. It's the billionaire class, it's the fucking white supremacists, it's racists, the people that don't believe in the Constitution. It's a bunch of dumb motherfuckers, a bunch of thieving motherfuckers that look, similar to moi. And of course, this is a big distraction on the Epstein files. We need to get back to talking about the Epstein files. So let's talk about the Epstein files. What was the biggest finding out of the Epstein files? Wasn't there something about the Fuhrer was a part of some boat in Michigan? There was like a 12-year-old girl. She gets raped. She gets pregnant. And then they make her carry the baby to term. And when the baby is carried to term, they take the baby and they throw it into Lake Michigan, Lake Superior. It was in New Mexico. The 12-year-old girl was from New Mexico. That Bill Gates thing was crazy. I saw this one video where they just scrolled all these powerful people and then says, that they're mentioned and then in what terms were they mentioned. And there was a bunch of people I have never even heard of. A lot of people around the world got punished. Prince Andrew famously got arrested. And then there's just all over the place. I don't know, Brazil, some low-level people were getting fired. No justice here. No justice in America, which is crazy. Because you have that one guy was in Canada. He was, abused as a child. And since he was abused as a child, he just took a hammer. And whenever he would hear about a child abuser somewhere in the neighborhood, he would just go knocking on their door. He's going to get 20 years. But are we trying to say that the inmates in our prison systems have more morals than our government? The inmates in our prison system has more morals than the people. So when the government does, crimes, where the inmates of prisons, take care of the situation, but the people of America don't do a damn thing, the government of America don't do the damn thing. And then when it comes to, prisoners, like there's, false allegations, right? So that's just incredible. It's incredible the double standards, there's no, double standards isn't standards at all. So what was, I'll come back with the Epstein files. We'll talk more about the Epstein files. All right.